Okay, welcome back to Module 7, that is Azure PIM, that is PIM, PAM, and POM, that is PAW, that is PAM and PAW. So, just giving an introduction to PIM, just taking an example that we had taken earlier, that we have a organization where we have help desk, we have department, we have other departments like developers department or the other department like financial department. So what happens here is, as I told you earlier in the first module, that the attacker tries to send a malware through the mail, and something goes wrong in the computer, and the help desk person at the help desk does not is not that technically sounded. So the help desk person takes help from the IT sector, and this IT sector person comes in to the help desk and logins with his credentials. So what happens, like, these credentials are captured by the attacker, and attacker will use these credentials to log in the IT department. So what happens here is, if there is no protection over there, the whole the attacker can get access to the whole system. So what we have here, we have a new property, if the help desk wants to install something, some software or something, that he will ask the admin, like when he describes his work, like I want to install a software, or I want to install an antivirus or something. So he will need a privilege. So he will be asking, the IT person will ask for the time duration, like how long will he be, how long will it take to install a software in the system, then how much hours will it take, and then now what the IT department does is, he will give the time based privilege, that is PIM. PIM is like privileged identity management, that is, it is a time based privilege system, like it enables you to manage, control, and monitor access to important resource in your organization. So it gives an approval role activation to migrate the risk of execute excessive and unnecessary or misused access permission on the resource that you care about. Now, what happens here is, when you are setting this PIM as your security tool, you will only give access to that person for a limited time period. You can nobody can access for more time period. Like as I told you, the user will contact the admin, and then admin will give access to the user for a time based role. So what happens here is, we have, what are the properties that we have in PIM is, like, just in time privilege, as we saw. Then it is a time bond access, as I told you, and then it actually approves the active privileged roles, and it has an enforced MFA, that is multi-factor authentication, to active any kind of role. Then it also downloads audit history for internal and external audit. Then it actually access and reviews and ensures the user still that user needs a role or not. Have this access. The next thing that we see over here is, we have we'll go to the lab and we'll see how this PIM works. Now I'll go to my basic lab where I have Active Directory. I'll go to Active Directory. Now you can see over here that I have a free tier, that is Azure AD free license, which I have, which does not allow PIM. We saw it in Azure planning that we should have the PIM for we should have premium 2 license. So now I'll go to the next portal where I have premium 2 access. Now you can see Azure AD premium 2 where you can create group. So you can create your own group. So I'll just click on new group. I'll just set group type will be the security group. Then group name I'll just say demo group, demo GRP, and I'll leave the description as it is as I have no owners in it. So I'll set an owner like info tech pledge. So I'll just click on it and I'll create this group. Okay, I'll just refresh the page. Okay, now you can see your group over here, that is demo group. Now let me try to add members in it. Now since we have no members added in it, as I'll see that I do not have my own member, so I'll go back and create a user. So I'll go back to AD and I'll go to user and create a new user. Now I'll create a user called demo user, and the whole ID will be demo user techpledgeconsulting.com. So I'll just name it as again demo user. Then here you can create password. Okay, so initially I'm creating a password. Just say, okay, I have created a password. Now I will create the user. Now I'll go back to the group and I'll try to add the member. Sorry. Now I'll go to my group and I'll try to add the member. I'll go to members and add member. Now my member name, the username was demo user. Demo user @techpledgeconsulting.com. So I will just add this. My user is successfully added. Now what I'm going to do is I'll go to another portal that is with another user, demo user @techpledgeconsulting.com. Click on next. Now I have to enter the password. So I'll enter the password. Now it is asking the user to create a new password. So I'll just create a new password. Okay, so over here I have set a password, and now the old password which I have, the existing password I have entered that. Now I'm going to create a new password like I've created okay. Okay, now the user is able to log in. Now we're back to the portal and now we're going to see how to apply PIM. So we'll go to Azure Active Directory where we'll go to Identity Governance. Now you have an option called Privileged Identity Management, that is PIM. I'll manage role assignment. I'll click on Manage Access. Now I'm going to assign a role to my user. So I'll go on Add Assessment and I'll select Search for Role. I'll select like Help Desk, Help Desk Administrator. I'll add the member. My username was demo user. I'll select it. I'll go on next. Now over here, you are giving the assignment type as eligible. Eligible means that this user is eligible to do all the work on the help desk, but that person will still have to take permission. The user cannot directly change the password or change anything on the other users. So it still has to take permission, and then you can set the expiry date and the starting time and the expiry date, and I'll just keep it as default and I will assign the role. Now since I've assigned the role, I will see my roles, the assigned role. Okay, so here I have assigned the role. So I'll go to the user again, the help desk user, which the demo user that we had created. Now I'll go to Active Directory. I'll go to Azure Active Directory. Now, what I have to do here is I want to change the password of one of the user. So in Active Directory, I'll go to user. I'll go to user named me itself. So Mida, I'll try to change my password. Now I'll click on reset password. Now what the message is showing? The password cannot be reset. This may be due to the incorrect level because you do not. Now you have given the permission, but you are just eligible. You still have to take permission from this user. So what you are going to do here is you will click on the user. Since here you are not eligible, now you're just eligible. Now you have to take permission. For taking permission, you have to activate your user. Now the user is quite confused. Like why am I not able to reset my reset the password of Sumidha Ravindran? So what he does is he will go to the user. He'll go to Active Directory again. Then he'll go to Identity Governance, where he'll check his roles. So he'll go to My Roles. Now he sees that he has this permission, but it is not activated. So now he'll go and activate the role. So you can see validation required. I'll just click on it. This is the validation that I'm going to give. I'll select the country, India, click on next. So I should get a validation message that says, okay. Now I'm going to verify. Done. So I'm back to the dashboard. Now you can give by default it shows 1 hour, but I'll just customize. I can set the time, like how long you want the access and all. So start time I've set it, and from the start time it gives me a duration of 1 hour. So I'll just write a ticket number, anything such that 103, and I'll just write a reason, want to reset the password. Okay, so I will activate. So now you have activated. So what we are going to do is we'll go back to the main user, that is Infotech. So over here I'll go to identity governance and I'll click on privilege management. Now because I've sent a request, I have to approve it. So I'll go to approve request. Now you can see there's a request over here. I'll just check this. Now you have option, either you can approve it or deny it. Now I will approve the request. I'll just ask only password. I'll just write a description. Only password. I'll confirm it. I've confirmed it. Now what I'm going to do is I'll go back to the demo user. I'll go back to identity privilege again. I'll go to home. I'll go to Active Directory. Now I'll go to user and I'll go to the user. Now I'll try to reset password. Now see, now you have an option to reset password. So if now this means that if you're giving a role to a person who's just eligible to it, you have to that user has to take permission to reset password. Now the user can easily reset password. Okay, so now we saw like how we are using PIM. Now let's go back to the portal and let's understand what is manage access to resource. What happens here is it's like you are giving a particular permission, like AD and management is like you're giving particular permission to your user, permission to the user to access particular application. That is like it is a feature that enables organization to manage identity and access lifecycle, and then automate access workflow and access assessment reviews and expansion expiration. It gives like more efficient. It is a more efficient way to give access to the user to access only particular application. The person cannot use any other. The other things like entitlement management. What you do in entitlement management is like Active Directory entitlement management is in identity governance feature that enables organization to manage identity and access lifecycle. So you can see over here that you have a you can see the workflow of the user, like what is the user going to access or is accessing to, and what is it up to. Then you can analyze the whole system, whole usage of the user. Then we have Privileged Access Workstation, which is PAW. Now, what we understand by this is we do not have to just protect the server. Now, we saw the example in our example that we have to protect the whole server or the whole setup, or not only the database or the data or the server. So, what we do over here is we give a feature. We have a feature like Privileged Access Workstation. This is about a Privileged Access Workstation means it is like providing a hardened workstation that has a clear application control and application guard. The workstation uses credential guards and device guards and app guards and exploit guards to protect the host from the malicious behavior. All local disks are like encrypted. It is like a BitLocker, and web traffic is restricted to a limited set of permissions. So now you have a role based, as you saw. We have an policy like IAM policy where you can add roles. So it helps to manage who has access to Azure resource, what they can do with those resources, and what areas they have access to. Then here it comes like privilege access management, that is PAM, is a solution that helps organization restrict the privilege access within an existing and isolated AD, that is Active Directory environment. So let me take an example of role-based access. Like it allows application to access all resource in a resource group, or a user to manage all resources in a resource group, such as virtualization, such as virtual machine, or the websites and the subnets. So now in this module, we saw how we have Azure as a PIM, PAM, and PAW. So we'll go to the next module where we learn about network security.